Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Water Play. My name is Miss Lorena, and today we are just going to have some fun with water and different things you find outside, natural things. So I have a stick here, part of a leaf, a plant, some rocks, I have two different little flowers here, part of a bush, some pine and a pine cone, and I also have some grass. All right. So on this hot summer day, I figured it'd be fun if you want to play outside with like a tub of water, a bucket of water, and then you just walk around your backyard or your front yard and you find different natural things to put in your water and play with. So I'm going to be making educated guesses, which is a hypothesis on whether these items will sink or float. So if you think they're heavy, have a little bit of weight to them, do you think they'll float? Do you think they'll sink? Do you think if it's lighter, a smaller item, do you think it'll sink or float? So those are just the questions I'll be asking myself, and I'll just be guessing on whether or not it'll float or sink. All right, so let's get started here. I have my tub of water, as you can see. All right. If you find more things, you can always play with them and try it out. All right, so I have this part of a plant here. Now this is pretty thin. Pretty thin. Do you think it's going to float or do you think it's going to sink? Let's see. That almost sank. All right, but it's actually keeping afloat. All right, now I have a stick here. Now float or sink? Let's see. Wow, that one I thought was going to sink. Surprised with the stick. Now I have one rock. Do you think it'll float or sink? Let's see. It sank. How about this little dandelion? Float or sink? Let's try it out. Float. That one's pretty light and small. I do have part of some bush here, as you can see, some greenage. Float or sink? Now that it is pretty thin, but I think maybe with the whole piece here, it has a little bit of weight to it. Do you think it'll float or sink? It's floating. All right. Let's try this pine cone here. Float or sink? Whoa, that one's floating. That one was a little bit, it had some weight to it. It's a bit heavy. I'm surprised it didn't sink to the bottom. All right, how about this little rock? Float or sink? Let's try it out. Sank. All right, we have a few things left. Let's try the grass. Do have a little handful of grass. Of course, this is thin, small, not too heavy. You think it'll float or sink? Try it out. It's floating. All right. Do have more. So float or sink. See what happens. It's floating. And the last little bit here, this little flower. Do you think it'll float or sink? This one might. And it's floating. So, most things that I had, which some of them I'm pretty surprised about, are floating in the water. As you can see, we have part of the plant here, although that one's almost sinking. Grass floating, dandelion floating, another flower, little piece of a pine tree, part of a bush. Oh, and there's my little girl Minnie. She might be thirsty. The pine cone is floating, which I was very surprised about. The stick also floating. See if we push it down. It still comes right back up. And then the only things that actually sank were the two rocks. They're very heavy and they went straight down. So now keep playing with the water if you like on a nice hot day. And I hope if you find anything else that you'll share it with us that you found in your yard. And let us know how your guesses went, how many you got right, what were you surprised about, what kind of thing that you found that either sank or float that you didn't think it was going to. So just let us know how everything went, and we hope